Why is it important to be grateful for where you are right now, even though it may not be where you want to be? Well, there are multiple reasons, but in this video, we're just going to go over and discuss why you should just learn to be grateful and express gratitude. The main reason why is because you're alive. Yes, you may have gone through trials and tribulations. Yes, you may be suffering right now in the moment, but if you are able to live and you're able to get through each day and you're able to move forward, it's not going to be bad forever. Now, this doesn't mean you're not going to experience adversity or go through things in life, but speaking from experience, as you grow older, as you mature, as you gain wisdom from learning certain lessons, you realize what's worthy of your time and what's not, because today is not always going to be today, tomorrow is not always going to be tomorrow, and yesterday is gone. So what does that really mean? We don't know how long we're going to live in this life, and worrying, being stressed, being overwhelmed is not going to change our situation. It's not going to help us. In panicking, speaking from experience, when I'm making this video, it's October, I think 10th, Thursday, right? There are a lot of hurricanes, weather's changing, seasons changes, people come and go. Like, that is a whole purpose of life, and looking at life from a negative or a low vibrational state can cause you to feel depressed, can cause you to have anxiety, to cause you to feel envious or feel like you're lacking, when it's just like, when you've gone through so much trials and tribulations and you decide to become a better person, or you just want to increase what you already have, you have to realize how that's been affecting you the past couple of years and the past couple of months. So it's just like, you got to start giving yourself more credit for going through the things that you've been going through, because it's just like, it's not to invalidate your experiences, but nobody knows how you genuinely feel. Like, you were the one who had to go through the sleepless nights, you were the one who had to be homeless, you're the one who was in poverty, you were the one who had to go through all these ups and downs. Like, you're the one who had to be jobless or suffer abuse or lose family members, friends. Like, you have to realize so much is going to happen within our lives, and they're only 24 hours in a day. And what I've learned as your favorite mental health specialist is to just talk about certain things that no longer resonate with you and let go of it. But in order for you to let go of things and actually genuinely be grateful for your life, you just have to accept that, you made certain choices based off of what you knew in that moment. Like, just because you made certain choices in your past doesn't mean that your entire life has to be like that, and that you have to stay in that environment, stay in that mindset, stay around those people, places, and things that are not for you. And because you're trying to figure out your life for yourself, you're doing it by yourself. Like, you have to learn how to be grateful for what you have. You have to be grateful for making certain choices and not knowing any better. And it's like, when it's not your fault, especially when you're like a young child, we have to be taught how to do things. So it's just like, our caregivers, our parents, the people that were supposed to be providers did with what they knew. And this doesn't, like I said, justify or condone whether it was right or wrong, but it's just like, if you don't want to continue doing something that you've been taught and you've been exposed to, you have to be willing to find different ways to educate yourself, to inform yourself, to find the resources, or to create the resources, because that's what life is about, is creativity and evolving. And it's like, you don't want to be attached to anything or anybody because it's going to change. Like, currently, a lot of people are going through hurricane season down in Florida, and I just want to continue to pray for those people and everybody every single day, because it's like, people are born every single day, people are going to die every single day. Gratitude is one of the most important things that is going to help you overcome anything that you're going through, because it's like, it's just a moment. It's just a moment. Like, no moment is going to be set in stone unless you stay there, unless you dwell there, unless you just decide that you give up on yourself. And you don't want to do that. A lot of people's joy has been taken from them since a very early age because of the corruption and the violence and the confusion and abuse, narcissists and SA and a lot of things. So it's just like, that doesn't have to be your reality, and that doesn't have to be who you become before you leave this life, because it's like, the whole purpose of your life is to do things that make you happy. And being grateful for where you are, even though you're not where you want to be, you're alive. So it's like, there are only 24 hours in a day. You can only take each day for what it is. And you guys, this hair is like extremely itchy. It's synthetic, but you cannot rush the process of your life. And that may be easier said than done, because practice, patience takes practice. If you're not taught discipline, if you're not taught structure, excuse me, if you're not taught how to be patient, a lot of us, including myself, used to be very impulsive, how we made certain decisions, how we react and responded to certain people, places, and things. But from experience as your favorite mental health specialist, you got to work on that, because it's like, if it's only 24 hours in a day, you can't rush the time. You may not have everything that you want, but it's just like you do have enough to get by. And it's just like being grateful and accepting that if you're willing to show up and you take each day for what it is, when it's time for you to get to where you need to be, you're gonna get there. But it's like you just have to be grateful. Like, a lot of people lost a lot of materials. Now, if you're not somebody who's lost materials, all that stuff could be replaced. The cars, the houses, the clothes, the toys, all that stuff could be replaced. Now, of course, I'm not saying that it's not going to take some time to rebuild, but it's like they rebuild houses all the time. They rebuild restaurants all the time. It comes and it goes. Never be so attached to anything outside of you that you lose yourself, including a relationship, including with your family members or your friends. Like, you just have to be grateful. And that's another thing. The reason why a lot of people are ungrateful is because of the attachment issues, or just because you may be uneducated and you may not be aware. So it's just like, usually I have recommendations. We go over step by step healing, but this is just a friendly reminder video that you have to learn how to be grateful. It could be both, but it's just like, you have to learn how to be grateful. Once you practice gratitude every single day, and however you choose to be grateful, whether it's affirmations, whether it's through prayer, whether it's through meditation, whether it's just accepting where you are, the more and more you just realize that life is going to continue to go by. And when it comes to life, because there's no right or wrong way to live your life, so always take what resonates, leave the rest. Everybody's life is going to be different. The only time you look outside of you is when you see things that you want to do. So, like, take advice from people that you want to be like. See places that you want to visit. Like, know what you want. But once you realize what you want, don't worry about any and everything else. Because it's not a part of where you're going to go and where you want to be. Like, things take time. Trust, believe. If I could rush my situation and make it more than what it is, I would. But I'm learning that these times are very imperative. Like, even though you got to realize when you're going through something, it seems like it's hard, it seems like it's very difficult, but like, speaking from experience, there were certain times in my life and I was just like, in the moment, like I said, it does seem challenging, but it's just like, as the time goes by, if you're grateful to even see the next day, because that's what a lot of people fail to realize, it's gonna go by. Like, a lot of people do not realize that a lot is going to happen as the years go by. A lot is going to change. Like, nothing could be set in stone, because we're not even going to be here since, like, I physically will not be on this earth forever. You physically, and trigger warning, that's what a lot of people are not taught. A lot of people are not taught about longevity, because sometimes people live in the moment, and there's nothing wrong with that. And depending on where you live, like, what's your program and what you've been exposed to. But it's just like, if you're trying to learn, if you're trying to heal, you're trying to do better, you got to let go of certain mindsets, you got to let go of certain attachments, you got to let all that stuff go, and you have to be willing to learn and apply what is helping you become grateful. So if you struggle with gratitude, I just want you to list in the comment section, or whenever you see this video, but specifically in the comment section, 3 things that you're grateful for. You don't have to have everything that you want right now, as long as you're working towards it. And it's just like, when you're doing things by yourself, it takes longer. It's going to take more time than somebody having the resources and the tools to help you. And it's not to knock or shade anybody who does, but it's like, even when you have the resources and the tools to help you, you still have to be able to maintain it. Maintenance is something that requires a lot of energy and a lot of effort. So don't be so overwhelmed. All these people that lost all these material stuff can always get it back. And it's not to be insensitive, but it's like, you have to look at things from a bird's eye view. When you are maturing, when you're healing, you are not supposed to be attached to anything on this earth. Not a piece of wig, not a piece of man, not a piece of a steak, none of those things. Because the value that it has is based off of you. You're not less of a person because you don't have a house. You're not less of a person because you don't have a car. You're not less of a person because you physically may not be to who? I'm not less of a person because I don't have, that doesn't define my worth. And when you learn to be grateful, you learn to be worthy, you understand what is worthy of your time, energy. And it's not to say that we can't enjoy life. I'm not saying that you don't deserve nice things, but it's just like when you understand that they're just nice things and they're basic necessities to life to survive, because we're always going to be in survival mode. Like, that's a different topic for a different video. You won't be worried. If something happens, you're learning how to adapt and handle situations. And it's not to say that you can't feel the way you do, but it's just like you have to learn how to feel in that moment. Unless you're suffering from like a death or your physical health, somebody breaks up with you, there are over 8 billion people in this world. It's not to say that time and energy and effort that you poured into didn't matter, but it's like you have to move on. It's not a choice. And of course, the more you take time to heal yourself and you grieve and you go through the withdrawals, you talk about how you feel, you find ways to cope, you will let it go. But the time is always going to go by. So always be grateful, praying for everybody in Florida who did lose a lot of those things. But a couple months, a couple years from now, things are going to continue to go on and life is going to continue to go on. Life is going to continue to go on regardless of how I feel or how you feel. So we got to practice being grateful for what we have, being grateful for what we have, where we are, and stop focusing on what we don't have. The more you can learn to be grateful for what you have, the more grateful you can be at peace in your mind and your spirit with what you're going on. And you'll realize the more you put into yourself, the more you're grateful, the more you're able to be present, the more you will move. You can't be worried, and that's why people say you're so worried about your future that you're not even being in the present moment, that you're causing yourself anxiety. You're causing yourself to feel depressed because you're so overwhelmed. You have to relax. You have to relax. But in order for you to relax, you got to practice gratitude. So if you have questions, comments, concerns, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you're commenting down below. Make sure you subscribe, turn your post notification bells. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. All the information will be down in the description box below. And head to my Instagram and my TikTok. I go live Monday through Thursday. And I ask questions and answers that you guys put up by following me once again on those platforms, by answering the polls in my stories, on Instagram and here on the community section on YouTube. And if you want a one-on-one session, head to my website at TikTok.com. Okay, I'm about to head to TikTok right now and go live and answer you guys' question.